Today's topic is a fun one. Renting an apartment, the well-known nightmare, ultimate nightmare of moving to the Czech Republic. And I will today give you the ultimate guide on handling this whole situation. Let's go through that together, guys. If you have any questions, ask in the comments or share your stories as well. I'll be happy to read those if they're related to finding accommodation, because I believe you will have a lot of stories there. So what we'll go through today together is I'll just very shortly touch the topic of short-term accommodation, because we don't deal with that much. We relocate people to the Czech Republic, so our main experience and expertise is finding long-term rentals, not short-terms, but it's part of the topic, so I'll just touch it. Then we'll go through the step-by-step process and different tips on how to increase your chances of finding an apartment and making sure that everything is good when you actually get one. Then we'll also talk about the most common scams and how you should or how you can avoid those. Some of them are pretty known scams. Some of them are on the border of scams and just shady or not being a completely honest landlord and stuff like that. So we'll cover all the different shades of a scam. And I'll touch the topic of our services as well, because as you know, we also help people with finding accommodation, long-term accommodation in Prague, so I'll touch that as well briefly. So short-term, we don't really deal with tourists much, so short-term accommodation is not now our specialization, but you will also very likely need some form of short-term accommodation if you're moving here and looking for an apartment to live long-term. Because finding something online, even that has changed a lot since COVID, during COVID and after COVID. Still, it's not a very common thing and not very recommended anyway if you need the lease for immigration purposes and some other official purposes to rent an apartment online. And especially from some countries, if you're from the US, you have maybe 15% chance of renting something online. If you are from India, you have 0.5% chance of renting something online because of the differences on how the visa process works, how different nationalities are viewed, and how complicated or how likely it is to get your visa. So usually it works the way that you come to the Czech Republic, book a short-term accommodation for 10 to 14 days. Usually 2 weeks is enough, but obviously that depends on your requirements and the season you come here. If you come on the 19th of December, probably 2 weeks will not be enough, because the next 2 weeks no one will be doing anything. Everyone will be just eating schnitzel and the potato salad. But in relatively normal times and with relatively normal requirements, 2 weeks should be fine. I've linked or in the description of the video, there is a link to an article where we describe all this in details, and there is also a link to one of the short-term rentals we work with. We're really good, well located, solid. So if you're looking for that, get into the article. Find it there. But the main focus for today is long-term rentals. Actually, for those of you who don't know that, maybe Move to Prague started from rentals. Our very first client back in 2012 was Juan Carlos. I still remember his name. I remember the full name, but I don't want to share it just in case he doesn't agree or whatever. But he was our very first client back in 2012, and we helped him find accommodation. The market obviously was very different until maybe 8 years ago, let's say. Back then, I also remember when we were moving people, the first group of managers from Amazon, when Amazon was moving offices from Berlin to Prague, which was around 2016, I believe. And we had it wasn't couple, it was 2 guys who wanted to live together. And they only came to Prague for 1 day to look for apartments. We only had 1 day. And we were able to show them 9 apartments in that one day. So we were going just like from one apartment to another, just like the whole day. And we managed to find something. They left, we finalized it later. And it was kind of easy. Since then, it's not like that. Now you're kind of happy if you can get, or very lucky if you can get 9 viewings a week. 9 viewings a day is like, I cannot imagine that happen. Like 4 viewings a day, that would be a stretch if you have like a very specific requirements and specific budget, maybe. But other than that, like 2 viewings a day would be great nowadays. So times have changed. Also, the landlords have changed, because back then they were able to, like, they would do anything for you. So if you wanted to meet in the apartment before you go to work at 7 o'clock or something, they would do that. If you wanted to meet at 8, they would do that. I remember myself visiting apartments like 9 o'clock in the evening, or sometimes even later. Or we stayed there and signed the lease agreement right away, for example. So it took until like 10 o'clock or something. Now landlords, they will hardly do it. Of course, depends on the landlord and the situation, but generally now it works more the way that, okay, I'll be tomorrow in the apartment at 3 o'clock, come or not. I have other 10 people coming to see the apartment, so I don't really care if you come or not. I will rent it out anyway. So it's more like this, and now you are the one who must hunt the apartments and hope that it will work out. Let's see. Let's go through the different approaches you can take if you are looking for an apartment in Prague. There are generally just 2. One, or dejme tomu, like, let's say 3. First, you do the search on your own, and you do everything completely on your own. That's one option. I will give you some tips about that as well in a second. The most complicated option, the most time-consuming, energy-consuming option, but also the cheapest in terms of money. Potentially, if you calculate how much time you spend like searching for accommodation, calling landlords who don't speak Czech, who don't want foreigners, who don't want to like see you in the apartment like tonight, maybe it's not even worth it, because you will miss way more work than what you gain like by not paying a commission to someone. But technically you don't pay a commission, or you don't pay any help with finding accommodation, so from this perspective might be good. Second option is that you have someone that you are relocated by your company, and they have someone they work with, so they will help you with the search, which is the most fortunate situation, because you have someone dedicated to you and your search. So that's very helpful. Third option, you work with us. And I will explain why these are the only options, because you might say there are different options as well, but they eventually lead to one of these 3 anyway. The thing is, or the main reason for that is that landlords, real estate agents usually do not work in the Czech Republic in the same way as you know from some other countries. Real estate agents generally in the Czech Republic are not your partners. They don't do the search for you. How they work basically is that they have a database of flats, and when you contact them, they show you what they have in the database, and you either like something from the database and you go see it with them, or you don't and you move on and you repeat the process with another agent. So they don't ask you, okay, so what you're looking for? Okay, so we don't have anything in our database, but I will contact my partner landlords or my partner real estate agents. They don't do that. They just have the database, you like it or not. The custom-made search is what we do. So we are the partners for you, because we don't work with landlords in the terms that they would pay us commission or something like that. So you are the partner for us, and we help you find accommodation from everything that's available on the market, not just from our like small database. Yeah, so if you're renting, or if you want to rent an apartment on your own, how to do that? The best, generally, the easiest is personal recommendation. It can be either friends living in the Czech Republic or in Prague specifically, or it can be your current or future coworkers. Because if you imagine that you move here to work for a company that employs 200 people or more, whatever, chances are that some of them is right now moving themselves as well. Fuck, what's going on with me? Sorry guys for my English today. Chances are that some of your colleagues or future colleagues are also moving themselves, so you might potentially replace them in their apartment they are moving out, or they maybe have some apartment on their own which are renting out and their tenant is moving out, or they know someone who's renting out their place. So if you have this kind of network here already, friends or coworkers, that's the easiest place to start. Also the easiest way to find some accommodation, usually the fastest as well, potentially. On the other hand, the kind of disadvantage there is that you tend to be, or people in general tend to be less cautious when you rent in through a friend or through someone they know or someone that was recommended. Because the person was recommended to you, so you automatically might think that, okay, this is safe or they're good people or something. It does not have to work out that way. So you should still always check the contract properly. Ideally have some professional check it, either a lawyer or us or maybe the company's lawyer or someone. Where are you from? I'm from Czech Republic, and Dorzilak will be moving here as well. Okay, so yeah, definitely have the contract checked. Definitely go through everything the same way as you would go if the flat was not recommended by someone you know. So make sure you take photos of the apartment when you move in, so you document the state of the apartment when you're moving in, so there are no confusions when you're moving out. Sign the lease, sign the handover protocol, do everything the same way as you would do through a real estate agent. That is a friend or someone you know, a coworker or whatever, doesn't matter. Second option, if you're looking for a flat on your own, there are 3 major websites or 4 major places where you could look for apartments. One, sreality.cz, the biggest portal, the biggest real estate website in the Czech Republic. Generally, basically everyone advertises there. There are plenty of 20, 50, whatever other real estate websites which might be focused on Prague specifically or whatever, but basically everyone anyway advertises on sreality because that's just the biggest one where everyone goes. So usually all the offers that you find elsewhere are on sreality as well. Not 100%, but very close to that. Disadvantage, the specific is that 99% of the offers there are advertised by real estate agents. So when you're looking there, you will pay a commission in one way or another. It kind of varies. Some real estate agents ask you for 1 month rent, like the exact number. Some ask you 1 month rent plus VAT. Some ask you rent plus utilities. Some ask you half of the rent, whatever, but there will be a commission, 99% of cases. So it's not a disadvantage. There is maybe some service for that, but you need to count with that. Also, I will get back to it later, but one of the problems there usually is that the English version of the listings is not really great. Sometimes, yes, the better real estate agents translate it well, but many of the real estate agents just leave the English version kind of very brief or no information at all. So you will not actually know how much the flat is, because you will see only the rent, but you will not see the exact utilities, all that. You will not know any details unless you switch to the Czech version. Expats.cz, honestly, the only advantage I see there is that it's all in English. So you can go look for apartments and you can read a bit more about Czech croissants, and then you can read more about what our prime minister said yesterday. Other than that, I don't really see an advantage, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. From our experience, you find the same apartments in S-Reality as on expats. Then maybe the advantage on expats.cz is that people only advertise there if they're fine with foreigners or if they speak English or kind of both. Because otherwise you will not advertise on a portal called expats.cz if you are not fine with expats. So potentially that's the advantage there. Bezrealitski.com, that's a portal, the biggest portal where you don't pay a commission, which is anyway, but generally it's the listings are advertised by direct owners or management companies where it can be a bit tricky with the commission, but generally you don't pay like a 1 month rent commission because it should be rented without a commission. The disadvantage there is that it's primarily meant for Czech applicants, Czech tenants. So you cannot really use all the features as a foreigner because one of the big features there is that they can check your kind of credit score if you don't have any debts and stuff like that. But you cannot do it as a foreigner, really, especially not if you're moving here right now. So you cannot use it like 100%. Plus, because it's the biggest website where you don't pay commission, everyone goes there. So if you see a flat, I'm not sure if they still have it, but they used to have like the amount of views of the listing, and there used to be numbers like 900 or like 1,000. Even if it's like 150 replies, you will be competing like 150 people for the same studio as you. So it's tough, and expect like one answer out of 10 you send to them. Facebook Marketplace or some real estate groups on Facebook. Generally, I will have to be fast because I'm just thinking because my internet will stop working in 6 minutes and then the video will not continue like recording. So I'm trying to see if I can avoid that somehow. So give you all the information I want, but I'll just need to be fast, I think. So Facebook Marketplace and different real estate groups on Facebook. The advantage is that there is a lot of people. There are some groups where there is 50,000 members, 60,000 members, I think even over 100,000 members in some of the groups. And it's a mix of Czech landlords and mix of foreigners. So it can be a good source. Facebook in general, though, is a very specific place to look for accommodation. One thing is there is a lot of scammers because from my perspective, Facebook is not really doing a great job. When you report a scammer, they might tell you, okay, thank you thank you for your service, but then you see the scammer doing the same thing like 2 weeks later. So you need to be careful about that. Second thing is that Facebook works in a different way because usually you don't have like a phone number there to call the person, so you like text them through Messenger, and then if they want to ghost you at some point, even if you're like waiting in front of the apartment on like a date and time you agreed to see the apartment, they can just ghost you and you cannot really do anything about that, So also you need to be very fast, even faster than in other platforms, because usually when people advertise on Facebook, we've done it before as well when we were managing some apartments, and usually when you receive like 20 messages, you don't have to reply anymore, because you will choose from the 20 people, you will choose someone to rent the apartment. So you need to be very fast there as well. You know what I will do, because this has been 20 minutes and my internet will really like stop working in 4 minutes. I have this specifically done, so I like stop working at 9 and I go home and sleep because I tend to work long hours. But I will not manage to tell you everything in the remaining 3 minutes. So I will divide it into 2 parts. This will be part 1 and I will do part 2 on Thursday, and I will continue with the step-by-step process, how to rent an apartment, what to be careful about, and also the most common scams and the services that are that can help you with everything. So I'll do the second half on Thursday. Let's see if we have any questions here. I could answer that now. Marcelino Santos, I arrived Saturday with a long-term visa. The immigration police will only open on Wednesday. Do I only need to bring health insurance and my passport? Passport, health insurance, lease agreement, fill in a form on the spot there. And that's basically, it depends on the long-term visa, but generally it's like this. I arrived here with the proof of accommodation through the expats. But this week I'm moving to a new apartment. I don't have the contract yet. Do I give them the new address or no? Definitely give them the same address as you used for the visa application, because otherwise they will not register you. They will tell you to go first, change it at the Ministry of the Interior, and then come back. So no, use the same address as you used for the visa to get registered with the foreign police. Baldy guy, exactly. Not completely, but yeah, there are spots. Let's see. Nice jacks. If you mean my breast, yes, I did a lot of push-ups today, so thank you. Okay, guys, this will be it for today. I will do part 2 with the rest of the information on Thursday. So join again. I'll see you then. And as you know, I will be doing open live Q&As right now in the joiners area. So if you're not a joiner, you can join. It's $8 a month. You get 8 one-on-one sessions with me every month. So well worth it. So thank you very much for being here, guys, and I'll see you again on Thursday, Monday, until the end of the world. Good night.